Welcome back, guys. VGR podcast today. We got a nice little last round of our thing going on. So it's starting round five off pretty nice with me. This is where we pick the games for each other in this portion of the draft. Aidan was graced with the blessing of picking the game for me. Had to find the perfect game. Aidan, tell him what you picked for me.
Well, I picked, for very good reasons and very knowledgeable reasons, Gargoyle's Quest 2. Game that it's very
There we go.
near and dear to my heart.
Oh yeah, tell us about it. No, I'm playing. I'll tell us about. I'll tell us about it. I'll tell us about it. So basically, to give you the plot of it, I'll get into. I guess let me start. What kind of game it is. It's kind of an action adventure that's crosses paths with the platformer. Interesting how they do it. I'll expand a little bit in a second, but it's like overhead view, open world action adventure kind of game where you can end up you play a platformer within it in a way. But Gargoyle's Quest 2 on the NES. It was the prequel that came out after its Game Boy companion Gargoyles, but this one is first. Came out in October of '92 here in North America, where we play the games. Who made it? Capcom. That's why they won't put it on the Switch Virtual Console, and it breaks my heart. But Capcom developed it, published it, and it's a great game, I think. So let's get into it. The plot, basically, a long, long time ago, way before humans ever started appearing in this place called the Ghoul Realm. This young ghoul warrior by the name of Firebrand that was a gargoyle. He, one day, going through his daily routine, just training, going through his little stuff. What happens? He gets boom! Black light appeared unexpectedly and destroyed his house. He's pissed, doesn't know what's happening. So he returns from his training, and a ghoul comes up to him. He's like, dude, you got to hurry up to the king. Like, shit's happening. It's going to happen to his house. We can't have it die. And then this ghoul collapses right in front of him, right? So you go up to the king, and this is where Firebrand, the gargoyle ghoul warrior, gets sent on the quest. Therefore, Gargoyle's Quest. So kind of leads you into it. Makes sense. He is tasked with the big quest from the king, and that's what we get into. And like I said, with the adventure aspect of it, turn it into a platformer. So it's like an open world overhead view. You're walking around through the town. It's interesting. When I first like what smacked me in the face is I thought this was a platformer. So when I loaded in, I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was gonna be at all. This kind of smacked me in the face, caught me off guard. It was like this. I don't know what kind of platformer starts like this. So I'm like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna like this as much as I initially thought. So I start playing it, talk to the king, go over to my training barracks, and I boom, and I'm like, oh shit! It turned into the platformer there. So you kind of bounce in and out of this overhead to platform kind of thing. It was an interesting concept. So like I said, first thing out the box, I'm like, this isn't what I thought it was. Smacked me in the head with it. Cool look, cool feel, and just overall the theme and the idea of the game, flawless. Like I wouldn't have thought. I guess thinking back, is there a game that does this? And I probably can't list 50 NES games, but I didn't know that there was one that did this. This kind of it almost starts out more similar to a Zelda kind of overhead, like I said, adventure. But then you also have imagine in Zelda when you go into the caves, you're in a platformer. And that's kind of what this does, except you're a gargoyle named Firebrand kicking ass through the world. So I mean, it really came out the gate swinging, in my opinion, with that. I loved it. You give it 5 minutes, get the plot build up, and then go into a platformer. It's almost like they use the adventure part of it to give you the plot and then let you play the platform version of why you're doing that. So I really enjoyed that. Aidan, what came at you first out the box here? What smacked you in the face when you opened this game up?
Well, before I get into that, I want to preface it by saying when I said near and dear to my heart, I was being sarcastic. I saw, truthfully, I knew CJ was a Pokemon fan, and I saw a
That's fair.
a 10-second clip of this guy saying the game was good, and it was from the perspective of an overview, and he was walking in the town. So I was like, it's kind of like Pokemon. I'm gonna recommend this game. I had not played this game before, so that's why I recommended it to him. I had no clue it was a platformer mix. But yeah, I enjoyed the game. I thought the concept was really unique. I liked the fact that it kind of had that story, kind of open world feel to it, uh, and mixed with platformers. Like if you would need to cross the bridge, it's like okay, you're gonna go into like a platformer to like beat that level to cross over the bridge. It was a really cool concept. Mechanics didn't feel clunky. I feel like the game looked pretty good. Yeah, it was definitely solid.
I like it. I like it. I'm glad that you knew so much about the game you recommended to me, honestly, and just knew
Yeah.
how it fit my taste there. Larry, is this the first time you played Gargoyle's Quest, or did you dive into it back in the prime time for it?
I actually never heard of this. No, take it back. I have heard of this, but I did not realize it was actually an NES game. Um, so I've never actually played this. So yeah, this is definitely my first time at it, and I think I popped it up once randomly before we got to it here, and I was kind of like, I don't know, didn't pay much at it. I was
Yeah.
just looking. But started on this one here, and I actually thought this was going to be a role playing game. As we got into this, because it had a very Final Fantasy kind of feel. Um, that you start out, you're talking to the king. There's a lot of story, a lot of
Hmm.
build up, and then once you get done, you get sent out into the world, which is like how a lot of role
Yeah.
playing games at this time were.
Yeah.
You're this tiny little one block character, and you're moving around. The town is 2 blocks until you get into it, then it expands. I'm like, okay, this
Yeah.
is not what I thought it was going to be either. And then, like I said, when you start training and all that, it becomes a platformer side scroller. So I'm like, props that they went out of their way to give you all this variation of it. So I was really intrigued. I was happy to get into this, and I think Capcom didn't disappoint on this round. Definitely, I'll give them that. They came with it, but it is still a little confusing to find out, I guess, on this level that it was
Yeah.
Gargoyle's Quest 2, and you couldn't find Gargoyle's Quest 1.
Yeah, right. I had to do some digging for that. I like what you said about the RPG. I had it somewhere, either on a sticky note or on my computer, that it felt very RPG-ish, and
Oh yeah,
it's not technically on the genre. To me, it is. I don't know. Like, to shout out, if I'm gonna start being Aidan here, to shout out World of Warcraft, the greatest game ever made. Um, it kind of, in a way, it felt questy and RPG, and like I really felt like I could get into this game, like sucked into it, you know. And I think,
well,
like you said, Larry, it starts out like the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that, especially of the time. Like you said, you see the little town on the map,
well,
walk into it, there it
well,
is.
you get what you're given an item. I think after you get done your training, right before you get set off onto your quest, there's
Yeah,
levels that you have to do, and there's spells and stuff. Apparently, you can get a hold of. This Maelstrom is a spell or whatever. At least that's how it's
yeah.
explained up front. So I'm like, I was like, this is straight up
It,
RPG.
Yeah, and you end up getting the vials to trade in for it. It feels
Yeah.
RPG. So I'm with you. You heard it here first. VGR stamping that on the game. It's also an RPG game. I mean, I felt that way. I felt sucked into it, and I mean, part of it, the graphics of it. I mean, it was. I loved the overworld look where it bounced back and forth between the platformer. I like it's such a new concept to me. It's not something I knew existed. And I don't know if any of you guys or anybody listening has heard of Realm of the Mad God. I used to play it a little bit, and it feels really similar from the top view, and that's kind of the vibe I got from it. And I played maybe Final Fantasy on the NES for 20, 30 minutes at one point. It felt like you said, felt really similar, but going into the platforming version of it, I was very happy with that. I thought honestly, for the most part, I could really tell what kind of what kind of things I was looking at. Especially, I think in the platforming, I didn't really get confused much. Maybe on the overworld a little bit on a couple things, but overall, I mean, I felt like I had a good idea of everything, and it did, like Aiden said, kind of did give me that Pokemon esque kind of feel from the overworld with the towns and stuff. And yeah, it really kind of does. The graphics of it almost make it feel like an RPG, and the way that they have the text coming through while you're in the towns. You can go up and talk to any of these NPCs, which is, even the
Yeah.
irrelevant ones. You can just talk up and just bullshit. It feels like an RPG. It plays like it, where you
Yeah.
get to hop into the platforming section of it. So I mean, I think the way that they painted the picture for you to look at it, it leans you in the direction of RPG almost. But I really liked the look of the game, the feel of the game, personally. Larry, you feeling the same way? Final Fantasy vibes rubbed off in a good way?
Oh yeah. I mean, the the overworld graphics very simple. Screams, there's so much more here than what you're getting, but we just need a map for you to be able to traverse. And then when you got into a closer spot on the side scrolling, the details really kicked in. You could tell, the fire, the lava moving, the water moving, the creatures. This whole world littered in spikes. I'll give it that. But um, I you brought up something when you went into the towns. I guess that's the one thing that threw me off was they had buildings you could go into. So I'm like, okay, should there be inns? Should there be somewhere I can buy
Yeah,
stuff and do all that? And the only
yeah,
thing you could buy was the maelstrom, which
yeah.
um, I guess we've said it 3 or 4 times. Did you guys ever figure out what the maelstrom was?
Not really. I just bought as much as possible.
Are you saying I'm
He
pretty
cut
sure
me
it's
off at one point.
it's the life. It's a life. It's a little life statue.
It
It
is.
might be because I was gonna say now that you said that, after I bought a shit ton, I was like, I don't ever remember finding this many lives, but cool. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I
Makes
had to
sense.
Google it. I'm like, what the fuck is this and how do I use this? So yeah,
Yeah,
it was
fair.
just an extra life. Like, can we not call it an extra life or something? I guess I don't know. But
That's part of the
either
RPG.
way,
That's why it's an RPG in to my eyes, dude. Like,
we got some fucked up name for you to live longer, but
Well, apparently
it looked really good.
sorry,
Go
but
ahead.
the maelstrom thing apparently it's like not like unique to you. Like it's like a thing in the world. Like somebody was talking about like, oh, I died, but then this maelstrom brought me back to life. But look at my ugly face. I don't know if you guys remember talking to that one
okay,
NPC.
okay.
So maybe
No,
that's why
I
they didn't
definitely
call
didn't
it an
talk
extra
about
life because it's like it's not unique to you as a gargoyle. It's like it's an actual thing in this world.
the
I
the
guess
more
it's a
Maelstrom power you have, the more times you can just come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
okay. I have to admit, I think after I crossed maybe the first or second bridge, I stopped really talking to anybody other than the
Same,
king and the guy
same.
who was selling the maelstrom. But um, yeah, I thought it was a really good looking game, and like I said, I think they could have actually gave more to it and put more things into it. But how'd you feel about what you seen there? Eh?
I enjoyed it. I it kind of has that NES 8-bit feel, not necessarily in a bad way. It wasn't. I mean, the graphics weren't blowing me away, but I could tell what everything is for the most part. And I mean, I really like the switch from the overhead view to the platformer. Like we said previously, it was really unique. Yeah, and I think overall, it it was done well. You could tell. I don't know if you noticed when you talk to NPCs and it says like there's a cave to the western forest.
Yeah.
You can tell that like the forest. You can tell it's a forest because on the map there's like a bunch of little tree figures. Uh, and I feel like it was done well. The graphics were done well. I could tell things were. It did nothing to me. Nothing like spectacular, but for the time, I feel like it was good. It was very solid.
Well,
That's
like
fair.
I
Yeah.
said, I'm with you. Like I say, as you said, yeah, nothing spectacular, but you knew everything that you were looking at, and
Yeah, it did its job.
that's all you should be able to ask, really, at that time.
True.
Yeah. That's pretty much, yeah, that's a slam, grand slam there if you do that. I mean, overall, the graphics were enjoyable. To me, the sound left, I guess, a little bit to be desired. Um, not super memorable. I kind of had to. I went back and re-listened to some of it, and it wasn't bad. I don't think it wasn't ear piercing. Had the arcadey vibe to it. You know, it definitely felt kind of like you're just hitting buttons on a keyboard almost. But I don't think it was like unlistenable to. Just nothing super memorable. I will point out, you know, some of the weapon sounds and stuff weren't bad, and I did like that the music changed, you know, when you jump into the platformer, and the music changed when you get to go fight the boss, which is, I guess, kind of standard in my eyes for this point, kind of thing. But I still think overall kind of left more to be desired. But maybe that's because we've also listened to some of the most beautiful soundtracks possible up to this, especially recently. I think we had like six games in a row before the extra just with loaded soundtracks, and even, you know, me and Aiden took away a lot from the extra from that soundtrack too. So, but I mean, nothing stuck crazy to me. Aiden, I know you're our sound savant, I'd say. So, what sticks?
Yeah, I did not. The sounds didn't really stick with me all that well. The sound effects weren't horrible. Like when you flapped your wings or when you shot the
Mhm.
fireball or where things were shooting at you. I don't think it was horrible, but it definitely did not live up, or it was not that well. I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that this game wasn't as popular. So, like games that were more popular, the sounds naturally got out into the world, and because this game wasn't as popular. People weren't hearing it as much. It wasn't used as much. I wonder if that has something to do with it, because we play like a popular game like Mario. Like if Mario was a Gargoyle's Quest, we probably wouldn't say like the music was amazing. It was just we probably heard that music our whole life and like throughout the cultural zeitgeist, so it was already out into the world. I wonder if that has something to do with it, but either way, I don't think the music was that spectacular. It didn't really stick with me. Yeah,
I'm with you. But
Yeah.
what if the music wasn't great enough to make it out to the world like that? And maybe that's the issue.
it could have been, but you mean you look
Could have
at
been a
some of
mix of both.
you look at some of the other games. Like I'm sure if you look at some of the obscure NES games, like some of them like sonically might be very well done, but it just was not big enough of a game to get the music out there.
That's valid. Larry, come through the headphones good to you, or same boat here?
Well, I'll argue for the idea that regardless of its play nature of it, this was all new to everybody. So you had the opportunity; it was there. I don't think it was good in any shape or form, and I actually hold it to a higher standard because it's a Capcom game.
Capcom, yeah.
I mean, Mega Man, you know, it's up to 92. Like, well, there has to be at least three, maybe four at this point, where they've had 6 to 8 different songs per game. It's like, and the stuff they hear, like you say, wasn't bad, wasn't good. I know, like I said, probably by the second half of this game, I quit listening. Didn't, I turned the TV on, listened to it instead of listening to the video game happen.
Yeah, I did a lot of the same actually.
I mean, I came back and like when I hit some bosses and different things like that. Then yeah, I was like, oh, we'll see what this boss has got going on, and no, back to the TV. So, um,
With you.
so yeah, soundtrack wise, sound wise, I think it's really something that just pulls itself down. And like I said, being a Capcom game, I expect more. I mean, hell, like I said, we've listened to a lot of great games and different things so far, but we've had Mega Man, we've had DuckTales, um, and they
Yeah.
did a lot of those Disney cartoon ones that had great songs in them and stuff. This isn't a high end, high priority, but if you're gonna put it out, put something in it, man.
Yeah, especially like you said, when they set the bar to here, and then you you might not be thinking of, oh, I'm gonna buy this game because the soundtrack's probably good, but you're like, Capcom made it. That's another plus in your book. Like with Aidan Lovin from software, he knows things of other games they've put out are probably going to be implemented into that. So you might be let down in that regard.
I think the only off the top of my head, given like that, I've never played this before, but thinking back towards Capcom video games, there's a video game called 1942, which was an early arcade game that they ported over to the NES, which is just a vertical shooter, and I don't even know if there's noise in it, but it really just sounds like a couple farts here and there. And I mean, since then they raised the bar and went up. Mega Man and all that stuff just up there. Hell, even this is of the family of was it Ghosts and Goblins, Ghosts and Ghouls, whatever. That soundtrack's
Mhm.
fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really good arcadey kind of things. Like bring the music over. Screw
yeah,
it. What's the hell do you
no,
care? It's the same world. So
the,
every time I watch a Marvel movie, you mentioned Captain America, his music gets played. At least a
yeah,
piece of it gets cut into it.
Yeah.
So Firebrand has his own music in Ghouls and Ghosts or Ghosts and Goblins or whichever the hell it's called.
mhm,
So they made
yeah,
music for it.
right.
It
No,
just it didn't
I'm
feel like
with
it
you.
was this. So
I'm with you there. I mean, pulling the game down, definitely the sound. I think that's a good way to put it. A couple other things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way with the game. When I wrote it all down, it seemed like a lot more. I think it just took more words to put it to. There wasn't a lot to hate about it, in my opinion, but I think some of the jumps for no reason were overly fucking meticulous to where you had to perfectly time it, and it sucked sometimes. I definitely wasted a couple lives doing that. Um, the overall design, I know it was mentioned that the overworld view was a little lesser than the platformer view. The one specifically, if you all remember going in the cave for some reason, it looked like texture, but it was actually different layers, and it threw me off. It took me a little adjusting.
Yeah.
I was trying to just run up because I thought it was texture, but then I realized, okay, it's different layers of the cave. Um, the one I think the biggest thing for me, it makes sense. I just think it takes away from a little bit of the enjoyability. Is so Aiden, you mentioned, you're crossing the bridge and you have to go through the platformer section. I like that a ton. What I didn't like is having to come back through the platformer section in reverse to
Yeah.
get back across that bridge. I get it and I understand why, but I just felt like it almost was like we need to add a little bit more, put this in there. And I just didn't love that aspect of it. Um, a minor thing, two minor things, I guess. I would have loved a map, but at the time, I'm not pissed at it, honestly. It makes sense. And from talking to the NPCs and shit, you kind of get the vibe, so I'm not pissed at it. The one minor thing that kind of cracked me up, but it would just annoy the piss out of me. If you guys, I don't know, maybe I just ran into it, but you'd go in like a building or something, and it would have like, say, a narrow walkway to get through, like a 1 block walkway, and you'd go talk to somebody. You come to go back out, and the motherfucker won't move out of the way. They'll walk into the space where you can't walk, and then they'll block it, but you still can't get through since it's only 1 block. And then they'll bounce back and forth a few times, and you eventually have to wait for them to move. And it reminded me of Pokemon, Aiden, because that shit happens in Pokemon. But it drove me crazy. It's such a minor gripe. It kind of made me laugh, but it pissed me
I think that's something they fix in later RPGs, like where you
Yes.
run into that. 'Cause at least I remember I'm like that the one I ran into that done that. I'm like I'm walking into them because usually in RPGs if you walk into
Yeah,
them,
it'll bump
they'll
them
they'll
enough.
finally
Yeah.
just let me get out of your way. But no, this motherfucker's
No.
like I need to get on your side and you need to move.
Yes. It's the opposite of that. It's the opposite. But overall, I mean, not really too much to drag it down. I haven't played any of the other ones in the series, but I imagine as games evolve, the next one might have a map. But at the same time, kind of might take away from some of the adventure aspect of it. So maybe it's just a personal gripe because I'm bad at adventure games, but nothing really crazy to drag it down for me. Larry, you think anything else other than the sound really pulled the score down for you?
Um, well, I mean, like I said, I think you're definitely your lack of playing adventure games is showing because
Yeah.
you didn't really hit too far of having to go clear across the world and come back. Maybe 1 to 2 times you had to do that, and
Yeah.
it wasn't too awfully bad. Um, and I think my complaint falls into the more of I felt like this should have been a role playing game.
Yeah.
Um, the world like there was no random encounters.
Yeah.
Like I thought maybe I would run into more things out there because I mean hell you had 3 4 different types of attacks and you didn't
Yeah.
really get to use them a hell of a lot. I
That's
mean,
fair.
the select boards or whatever they're called, the caves, the castles, the different things, they test out your platforming, but I didn't feel like there was enough action, enough fighting to really kind of. I mean, again, same guy who'd bitch about the fact that I'd have to grind through a game to get levels. But on the same token, it's like if I feel like I figured every so often I would get a random encounter or just something pop out want to fight me. And
That's
that's
fair.
about one of my biggest gripes. But again, that's because I expected this to be more role play-ish. Um,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
outside of that, yeah. I won't say specifically how I played this, but the rewind feature is fucking awesome because these jumps sucked ass.
Yes,
A
dude.
lot of them were just like
Yes.
they were almost like pixel perfect to some degree,
Yes. Yes,
and it's
that
just like
you will, no matter what, eat shit on this jump. Like,
uh-huh, uh-huh.
yeah, I'm with you. I like the way you worded that. There was definitely some saving elements of the console I chose to play this on that definitely redeemed some of those jumps for me. So
It gets a lot of the anger down. I'll agree to there.
absolutely. Aiden, you love the jumps? Because I feel like you're the guy that comes in and loves the jumps after we shit on the jumps.
I didn't find that much of an issue with the jumps.
Of course.
I played it on PC. I should have played it with the rewind feature, so maybe that did take away from some of my liking to the game and increased my rage inducingness of the game. But I can't, like I said, another gripe I agree with CJ on was kind of the bridges, because there was points where I was a little lost. I don't know if you guys definitely didn't do the same thing because I watched a video on it and it was completely my own fault. I I went past the bridge and you have to explore the cave, or you have to go up to the cave, and then the cave says, and then you get past that weird textured level and it says, okay, you need to upgrade your wings. I don't know if you guys have did that
Mhm.
before or after, but then I had to upgrade my wing, and then I went on that level to the right in the forest, and I made it all the way up, and there's like a maelstrom statue at the top. And I don't know why. I
Mhm.
thought that was just the point of the level to get this maelstrom. And I
Me
was like,
too, dude.
and I
I
was,
struggled on that level
dude, and I got the
hard.
statue, and I went back and I left the cave, and I was like, okay, where do I get the wings? And then I went down through the bridge, and I had to hop down the bridge, and then and I was like, okay, there's no place down here to get wings, and I went back up the bridge, and I ended up going back down and then back up, and I watched a video. I was like, okay, let me watch a video how to get these wings. I'm like, oh, I'm an idiot. They're right here. But yeah,
I swear I did the same thing.
that was an issue with
Yeah.
going up and down the bridges. But other than that, I can't find a whole lot of gripes, not grops. I can't find a whole lot of gripes. Not to say that this game was perfect by any means, because I don't think that. Other than the music, didn't really stand out. Uh, I just feel like it did most things that it was trying to do. It did at an above average level. There wasn't a whole lot of things that I say really failed for me, or they just completely failed. Yeah, so I can't find a whole lot of other gripes, but that's not to say the game was perfect.
I think that's a good way to put it. And I mean, getting into the things that makes the game perfect. Now, getting into the things that make the games not a failure. In that regard, a lot of the things that they did do above average. I don't know why. Maybe this has got to be really niche. I don't know if you guys picked up on some of the text. A lot of the people said just before they would start talking. So relatable, man. It's so relatable. That hit home for me. I do that a lot. So yeah, no, that hit for me. I've definitely been called out on it a time or two. I really did like the layout and the game design of it though. I didn't think, Larry, I think you had a good point with didn't really need a map. It the way it was set up was pretty well. I did like that you could talk to the NPCs and get the little hint of, like Aidan mentioned, oh, there's a cave kind of northeast from here, and if you walked what you just assume that north is up, south is down, east right, west left. You go up to the right a little bit, and that's where the cave will be. I liked that a lot. I think that adds a lot to the game. I loved the fact that it bounced back between the open world and the platformer. That's got to be my favorite thing about the game personally. Um, and throughout the game, it felt rewarding. I really liked the upgrading of your wings and stuff, up to the point where at the end of the game you're a strong gargoyle. You have like unlimited wings at this point. I loved that they did that. I thought they almost teased you to the point of, oh, I got a little bit better, got a little bit better. You can jump a little higher, fly a little farther, a little longer, and then at the end, it's like you're the badass Firebrand ready to go beat some ass, and I really did like that. And overall, like I said, it was really rewarding, and I ended up beating this game, which is not common on the VGR podcast. Me beating a game, so probably gives it a little extra point and a little bonus I'll sprinkle in. I had some fun. It felt rewarding. It felt good to beat. So I liked the progression of it a lot, and I think the storytelling was done really well. For me, I could get into it. It did have a lot of RPG elements, though. For whatever reason, Capcom didn't stamp it with RPG. They should have. I could get into it as if it was an RPG. Loved it. So, Aiden, give us your above average, those 6.5s out of 10s that made the game good for you.
Uh, I I do want to say, from my 10-second clip of watching this game previously, I did think it would be a game you would like. So I'm happy to hear that you kind of did like it. But I agree
Good,
with
good.
CJ. A lot of the stuff he said, I was thinking. I like how you go in and out from the overhead view to a platformer. I thought it was really unique, really interesting. And another thing I was truly thinking this, what CJ said, as you become this badass dragon, it really does feel like you're completing your
Gargoyle?
quest, or gargoyle. You're completing your quest to become a true warrior. You're getting stronger, and yeah, that was cool. I do like as you run into these little ghosts, and I like how not every little thing that it turns into a platform where you don't have to be this whole giant level. If you're just running into this little ghoul or ghost, I don't know what it actually is. You just have to defeat these three little ghouls to advance past them, It's not a whole level.
I
I
like
just thought
that.
that adds a level to the game. Like not everything is this big level. If you just run into this little ghoul, you just have to beat a couple ghouls and consider him defeated. Uh, yeah. I I like the design. I like the uniqueness, and yeah, that's what I got.
Fair enough. Actually, that's something I kind of forgot about. And honestly, Larry, me, you, and Aiden we could have pitched this to Capcom back in the day, 10 years before I was born. Dude, we could have had this made. They could have had the random encounters with these people, but instead of like them just popping up and being way too much and annoying you, what if these people just roamed a little bit? Like I feel like that would have been a really nice ad. You know what I mean? Because yeah, no,
Yeah.
it did feel like a little mini level, which was definitely better than having to do like a whole platformer level
Yeah,
instead.
I also do feel like it could have. I'm remembering this. I had this thought while playing the game. Maybe this could be considered in my gripes. Just the minor what I think left the game to be desired. They could have done a little more. They had more of those random encounters with different little mini levels. Like say like if you're passing through the trees, like I don't know if this is too reminiscent of other games, but oh you ran into a gorilla beast. Now like defeat this little gorilla beast level or mini level.
Yeah.
They could have done that in different areas, or you're walking past like a little mountain area. Oh, you ran into this mountain monster. Defeat this little mini level.
Bobcat.
I feel like
Yeah.
that
I'm here with you.
could have added a little bit more depth to the game and made it feel more like that RPG ness. But yeah,
That's
I think
fair.
it would have helped it. I would think it would have helped it make the world feel a little more full.
yeah,
It felt kind of empty.
Yeah.
That's something I've noticed that more in games where I realized a couple games that were so empty because there was all this vast land, and all this vast stuff, but could have had something more in it. But
Breath of the Wild does that good too.
um, it does pretty good. It gets better on the next version, but I won't tell you about that. Either way, um, I I liked the challenge of the game. It was simple. It was to the point, but it was enough to keep you coming back because you feel like you could progress. You could do it. And again, I applaud CJ for finishing it. I
Yeah.
myself, I too did finish this as well. Again, like I said, I'll put the asterisk with rewind function. But it's pretty all right. The bosses, I like them. I do think there was a good little bit of variety of them. I think there was another gargoyle. There was one who looks just like you.
Yeah, I like that
I
guy.
think I forget what it was called. Oh, doppelganger.
Mhm.
There was giant mantis, and then but everything like the thing I guess felt weird was like every realm had its own little king, and you had to like save the king or something
Yeah.
from one of these guys. So that was a little weird. It had its little twin thing where there was two different bosses
Yes.
jumping
Yeah,
around. You had to
the
kill
two
them,
gargoyle statue looking things. Yeah.
but the bosses weren't super hard, but they weren't super easy. You just had to, truthfully, I think two or three lies, maelstrom necessary to really figure out what the pattern is, and then just figure out how to play the pattern correctly.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I enjoyed what they gave us. I just feel though it was kind of more of a cash in versus a let's build something kind of game.
That's fair. You reminded me when you mentioned the doppelganger. I don't know if you guys caught it. I don't know why. I didn't talk to like you, Larry. I didn't talk to all the NPCs later game. There was one I talked to that mentioned it even like, oh, like they say there's this doppelganger guy, and if you attack him while he looks like you'll hurt yourself. Just be sure that he changes first. And there's no way that Capcom didn't stamp RPG on this. Like I don't know how. Like that's straight up like gets into the role playing elements
Hmm.
of it. But that sparked that memory for me, and I enjoyed that as well. Overall, I mean, I really did enjoy the game. I thought it was a really fun game. I loved like Aiden has mentioned before, the uniqueness to it. We say way too much, but it was one of a kind with its bouncing back and forth between the adventure and the platformer. And I think it does a really good job with that, bringing people in like me that aren't great at adventure games, that don't love getting into broad just kind of what the hell's going on. Like it felt like it gave me the open world with a linear path where I'm not accidentally on fucking sixth battle with the base shield and base sword, or no shield and base sword, like I was in the Zelda. So it makes sure that you kind of have the direction, but I like that you have to work for the direction. You get kind of like instructions in the overworld and dive into the platforming elements of it. So overall, I think it was a really good game. I think Aidan put it in a nice way where it didn't really fail at anything, not necessarily exceeding excellent status in every category, but it definitely didn't fail or really drop subpar in any category. And I think that makes it to be an enjoyable game, which big factor for me. So I had fun playing it. I think that's probably my favorite part. Final thought on it. Fun playing it. Larry, first time coming to it, even though it's about your age, we'll say.
Yeah. Okay. I was already kissing girls by the time this was happening. Um, I've thought about this. And I was gonna mention a little bit ago, but it finally clicked. There's a game that came out close to the same time. Actually, several of them that act like this. One you may have heard of is called the Adventures of Lake Zelda 2.
Okay.
And as I thought more about it, it plays the same. You have levels that are very not as platformy, but they're side-scrolling levels that you have to work
Mhm.
through. You travel the overworld as a little icon going from square to square. It has your random encounters that you want to run into on the different terrains and different behaviors for it. Has people in town that you talk to, except their town is um, more overhead. Or no, sorry. In this one, it's more overhead. In Legend of Zelda, it's more side-scrolling platformer.
Okay.
Um, but it not as trying to think of the word is cryptic as Legend of Zelda is. This is very straightforward. This is a for a not a hardcore gamer. This is a very good introduction into that kind of action platformer. Because when you stop to think about Legend of Zelda or the Adventures of Link Zelda 2, it has points that make it technically a role playing game. Um,
Mhm.
which changed the atmosphere that people didn't like it, but this is done well. I think I would have wanted that because, like what Aiden said, the wings thing. I was going in there killing stuff, coming back out, going in killing stuff, coming back out. It's like
Yeah.
how many of these things do I have to kill before I get my next level? And so that's where I felt that because there's nothing telling you that you were getting anything, but that should have been your giveaway. Um, it was an entertaining game though. I think it's a very fun game. I won't say simple, but simpler than Legend of Zelda type stuff. So it's pretty pretty good for what it is. That's all right. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great way to put it. And Aiden, since you're the master that's recommended and played this game through and through, let's hear your final thoughts on it.
Final thoughts. To beat a dead horse here. It's very different. It mixes an action platformer with, we'll say, an RPG. I don't care what they stamped it. Mixed with kind of an open world, even though it's definitely for an open world very linear. Yeah, I mean the game was very interesting. I like the movement on the game. I don't know if I brought that up. I like the flying aspect of it. But yeah, I mean this game was enjoyable. I liked it. Of course I've played this game multiple times before. That's why I recommended it. but but I liked the game. Music didn't really stand out all that much, like I said. I like kind of the RPG ness of it. I like talking when I probably did too much. When I talked to a lot of the villagers, pretty much everyone I saw I talked to, and I mean I don't know how this wouldn't be considered an RPG at all. To be honest, it definitely has a lot of RPG aspects, but whatever.
Uh, it's just gotta be that lack of leveling up. The only thing I think that keeps it out of it.
I mean I guess, but you do like level up your wings and different stuff, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
but it's not done through any of your actions. It's done more of like a reward
As
process for.
progression, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this game. What can I say? It was unique. I don't think there was a whole lot of aspects that were like 10 out of 10 perfect, but there also wasn't a whole lot of things that were done poorly. All around, this I mean, I would even say something that we kind of hit on earlier in the video. The music didn't really stand out, especially compared to other Capcom games. But the music was not. It was not like ear piercing. It wasn't like some other NES games that we've played where we had to turn the music off because it got so annoying. It wasn't like that. And I mean, the sound effects in general were fine. They weren't bad. So I mean, I don't have a whole lot, not a whole lot of things that this game did really poorly, but for me, not a whole lot of things that did necessarily great.
Fair, fair. I like it. I like it. Aidan, we obviously know you would recommend the game. Would you recommend it to anybody else outside of me, or you think other people should pick it up?
I think you should. This is it's a very interesting game. Probably if you haven't played it before, probably not necessarily like a whole lot of stuff you've played. Uh, it's a relatively easy game, especially if you're playing it on uh, a system where you can rewind, which probably what most people are or would be playing it on nowadays.
Yeah,
Uh,
since Capcom won't put it on the give
Capcom,
Nintendo the licensing to put it on the damn online Switch store.
yeah, but yeah, I think I would recommend the game like I did before. I I enjoyed it. I might come back to it. Who knows? But I think I'd recommend it for sure.
Okay, that's fair. Do you think you'd pick up any of the other series, other games in the series, Gargoyles or Demon's Crest?
If I probably wouldn't go out of my way and spend money on it, but if it's available to me and I want something else to try, yeah, I think I would. I think I would.
That's fair. That's fair. I mean, yeah, I think I could recommend it after it been recommended to me. I did enjoy my time playing it, and think I think Larry, you had some great points on it. That it's a straightforward. You don't have to be a hardcore gamer, but this is a kind of a good intro game to get into kind of that adventure platformer, especially if you're a platformer kind of person like I am for the most part. When we're talking older games, it's a nice mashup for me. I don't know that since I officially beat this one, I don't know that I'll come back to this one, but I think Demon's Crest sounds interesting. Gargoyles on the Game Boy might be something I'd pick up as well. So I might hit the other games in the series, but since I beat this one, no need to come back and beat it again. Um,
Notching the belt, notching the belt.
right. So Larry, two of us will recommend it. Two of us kind of feel similar about coming back to it, except I might go out of my way to play the other ones a little more than Aiden. How do you sit on this side? Which way you feeling?
I I think I would recommend it to anybody who wants to get a good little challenge out of a game. It's not very long. I mean, truthfully, I think playing through it, you could probably knock it out in what 6, 7 hours maybe, and that's
Being
just really not
generous,
giving a
yeah.
hard time at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 10 at the most. Really, that's just pending giving any ideas to your level on it. So it's a decent little platform. It's got some challenge on it. It's definitely going to work on your hand-eye coordination. So yeah, I would say give it a shot. It's not a bad thing to do it. Since I rolled credits on it, mm, I probably will not play this again either. Um, I think it's worth playing. I just don't think it's worth coming back to. At least not for myself. I do know what the hell is um, ghouls and ghosts and goblins and all that. So I'm afraid to figure out what Demon's Crest could be, but I don't know. I mean, it's one of those, we always look for something to play. Why not? But this one here, I think I'm good.
That's fair. I can't hate it. Kind of feel like we all kind of got the similar feeling from it. Not a ton of replayability, but worth the shot at least once, kind of thing. So
Hmm.
Oh
here we
yeah.
are, like Aiden said, we proved last week that we don't all just agree all the time and feel the same way about games. But now here we are, just back to agreeing. All right, let's see. Larry, give us a score. You're up first. Up
Maybe,
first.
maybe this will. I don't know. Maybe this will end up help spread us out a little bit on where we're at on it.
Okay.
I thought about this hard. I should have wrote this down and went and looked at it first, but um, like I say, the initial thought is was it fun? It was okay. It was all right. I would say it's pretty fun. I've played less fun things. Felix the cat, but it
Come on,
was
man.
it felt like something got achieved, something got there. Um, but it had a lot of not goodness to it. So, with that in mind, I've danced around back and forth with it. My not goodness things is what's going to bring me down to a 6.3.
There it is, Aiden.
And
He hates the game
it's
you picked. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
well, it's the thing is it's fun, it's there, but I admit to it, I'm never probably ever going to play this again. So that affects
Yeah.
to some degree how fun you're really going to do it.
Similarly, I teetered my score around because of that. I'm like, looking at other games that we've rated, it's just these games that we've rated pretty high are games that I could easily see myself coming back to. So I get not mad at you. I can understand that. Aiden, our seasoned Gargoyles Quest veteran that called it Dragon's Quest almost maybe for a second. What kind of score are you feeling out for this bad boy?
I was actually thinking being a little less harsh. I mean, I definitely like this a lot more than games like Felix the Cat. Uh, and I like how it wasn't just like a standard platformer. There was some stuff that made it stand out, and definitely some RPG-ness to it. I'm thinking I'm thinking a 7.2 on this one. That's my rating.
Not bad, not bad. I'm not mad at the 7.2. I would like to say something. I think going forward in future seasons, we know what game it'll be this time, but when we do our little recap, I think we should give out the Felix Award to the Felix Cat pick of the draft. We know where it goes this time, but I think going further, it could be it could
Yeah.
be something funnier. Hopefully, this isn't a reoccurring winner. It's not a good trophy to win. I think back to back to back, but I might be that guy. So I think I sit a little bit higher. I definitely enjoyed the game. I think my biggest drawdown of the score would have to be I do like the sound. It's not going to kill a score unless it's terrible, not fart noises, but the replayability does play a big factor. Like I said, we've looked at other games that are regarded as 9 pluses, and all those games, any of us that have given a 9 plus score have 100% recommended and would come back to. I think that plays a part in it. But I think I still feel gracious, according to everybody else here. Going with the solid 8.5. I did really enjoy the game. I think the role playing elements that apparently don't exist in Capcom's eyes. I think that they really do pull me in. I felt like I got kind of pulled into the story more than I normally do. So I think it does for me click where it needs to, and I think the biggest drawback, this could be a 9 for me if I could come back to it. I really liked it, but it's just if I can't come back to it, you know what? There's not much more to be desired with another play. So maybe if there was some like changing elements where they did lean into the role playing game, we could have different outcomes. Maybe I bump it up, but overall, we get our final VGR score of what kind of game we played here. So with the three of our heads combined, we did play a good game, giving us a 7.33 score. So we're just gonna call it 7.3 out of 10. Good VGR game. That's a good score still. We've played more good games than not. There's only been one Felix the Cat. So
Yeah, fair.
but I mean overall, Aiden, thanks for recommending the game that you enjoyed so much of your childhood. And glad I could enjoy it more than you, I guess. So a good game. I have fun with it. But it's not the last game. We still have two more to play. And I picked out a game for Larry coming up next week. Larry, tell us what it's about. Tell us what we're playing.
A quiet game, a game about being yourself in space. You are the lone bounty hunter Samus Aran, dropped in on SRG-88 in search of the Metroids to take out one mother brain. So next week we are going to play this Nintendo version of Metroid. I hope that you're able to go from beginning to end, but if you need to pull a Justin Bailey on this, I understand.
Hey, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think I almost felt inspired by this game to really try to beat him, but God, some of these, you guys know my video game skill level in comparison to other gamers. I'm definitely a subpar gamer when it comes to skill, so a little difficult for me. But on the bright side, this isn't the last episode of the season yet, like I said. And even if it was, there's still ways to find us. Aidan, where can you do that?
Guys, we've been seeing questions at the beginning of the video. If you got a question, email us at VGR Podcast. If you're listening to this on audio platforms, come check us out on YouTube. Come check us out on Instagram. Come check us out on Facebook. We got a link tree in the description. Click on that. Follow everything you can. We're coming out with bangers. We're going to follow up the season here soon. A couple more games. You're not going to want to miss them, guys. I promise you're not going to want to miss them. And hit those noties, because every Friday we're dropping bangers.
Avery.
Every Friday we're dropping
Avery
bangers.
Bang!
Bangers. Just be ready for that, guys. But yeah, like, share, follow. Check us out on all other platforms. This is VGR Podcast, and we're heading out. Later.
I got one thing. I didn't forget.
Never mind. We're not heading out.
Uh-oh.
I
Not
did
yet.
forget, but I didn't forget. We'll pretend I didn't. Kanye lyric of the week.
Oh, God.
Can't forget it. Kanye West once said on his song Blood on the Leaves, I'm a gargoyle. I'm on the roof watching the city. The only reason it really applies here is because you're a gargoyle, but still here. And then, like Aidan said, VGR out of here. We'll catch you next time. Find us every Friday right at midnight.
Yeah.
Peace.
Later.
Later, guys.